Alrighty, good morning, everybody. We're here, back in the shop. Woohoo! Finally. Good morning to Miko, G Key Man, Pocket Women, Ronald, everybody. Good morning, good evening. I think it's morning for everybody. Early morning tomorrow for Pocket Women. Glad that everybody's here. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who left all the wonderful comments on my video that I did Saturday, about my fellow officer, my friend Andrew. I really appreciate the support, and all of the fellow officers who also watched it really do appreciate the support from literally all around the world, and that is so awesome. He would have absolutely loved that. I wanted to get that out of the way. Thank you, and again, thank you all for checking in on me. That was a very rough day for me, and doing the final call was the roughest, most difficult task I have ever done in my career. And I spent 10 years in dispatch, and I've been a police officer for 13 years. Obviously, there's overlapping years there, but so again, thank you. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate everything. So anyway, we are here in the shop again. Hopefully we're gonna be back on schedule. I'm not gonna eat anything spicy Friday night. That way we can be out here Saturday on regular schedule. Wednesdays are still days off. It's getting kind of difficult not having the overtime. But it'll work out. It'll all work out. So we're hoping to hear about what happens with our budget basically any day now, and hopefully we will get the funding that we need that will help income for people like me, out there working every day. And in which case, if we do get that, then things will be really nice. And I plan on starting to do some more stuff again, send some more stuff out, to you folks, and trading with you and stuff like that. So, but let's see. Good morning, Anthony. Let's see. Sushi from the gas station. I've never had gas station sushi. My grocery store makes sushi, and it's actually pretty good. It's never given me any trouble before. And I actually made sushi a while back. It was back before Thanksgiving, I think. And it was pretty good. Didn't have any issues. So, gas station sushi, I would not trust. Good morning, Gumby, on your coffee break. Glad you're here because we're going to go back to basics a little bit. We did that last Wednesday for some of the smaller padlocks. Today we're just going to go over locks in general and picking, how to pick them, how to approach picking them, what tools to use, how to use them. So this is probably pretty basic to some people, but to other people, it'll help. I know it'll help other people. And, hey, if you've got any tips, let's, jump in. And we can experiment with different stuff, and look over different things. So, I wanted to say good morning, LPG. Glad you can make it today. It's been a while since I've seen you. Glad you're here. GQ man, if you've never had sushi, you should try it at least once in your life. And don't try it from a grocery store. Don't try to make it yourself. Just go ahead and take the plunge. I know people still aren't going out to eat like they used to, but get it from a restaurant when you do try it. It does not taste fishy. If you get sushi and it smells like fish, do not eat it at all. It's just like any other seafood. If it smells like seafood, don't touch it, because you're gonna be in for a long night. I know I've done that. It is not fun. That was in the past. And I think what screwed me up a few weeks ago when I had to cancel Saturday Live is the shrimp that I made. Something wasn't quite right there with those shrimp. So anyway, if it smells like fish, don't eat it. Let's see here. You are not a sushi person at all. Gumby, really? Wow. Good morning, Alpha Centauri. Let's see. Ronald, yuck. What? Am I the only one who likes like sushi, like actual sashimi sushi? Sashimi is the actual term for the uncooked fish in sushi. But yes, sushi without fish, vegetarian sushi. There's sushi with they'll use imitation crab meat, which is cooked. So, I mean, you can get kind of a feel for the flavor profile. But to me, actual sashimi is so much better. It is good. And the thing I really like about it is it's light. So you have that full feeling, but you don't feel, you don't feel like you weigh 957 kilograms, when you're done eating. And it's good. And it's healthy. See, good morning, James Randolph. Yeah. See, Miko knows what it's about. Yep. Avocado, cucumber, mango. Yeah, LPG, I know some people like their steaks well done. I cannot stand a well done steak. That's like nasty. Blech. Blech. Fish, barbecue, salmon. Ooh, barbecue is salmon. Which I know based on where you are, Gumby, barbecue means something completely different than it does down here. But I know what you're talking about. And I would like to grill some salmon sometime. I actually just kind of slow smoke it. Actually would be pretty awesome. The California roll. Yes, the California roll is good. Huh. Well, that's interesting, James. Yeah. That's pretty cool. The hospital my dad used to work at, I don't know if they ever did sushi, but they actually, while he was still there, they actually hired a Michelin rated chef to come in and direct the cafeteria. And when I ate there, I ate there with my dad a couple times, just breakfast in the morning. But I remember they had smoked salmon there one time, and that was, oh my God, that was good. Want your steak all done? No, you can't have steak all done all the way through. Yeah. Okay, yeah, cedar plank salmon. Yeah. I've seen recipe on that, and I actually wouldn't mind trying that as well. Fresh bass sliced so thin you can read newspaper through it. And steak tartare. You know, I have never found a restaurant around here that serves steak tartare. I've always wanted to try it, but I don't trust. Like, it's one of those things I want to have it made professionally for me before I try to make it myself. So I've never trusted what I could get as far as making that. I don't trust, like, the point of a rare steak is, the bacteria and stuff that can make you sick on meat, on red meat, lives on the outside of it. So as long as you cook the outside, then the inside can remain cold, and it'll still be okay to eat. But anyway, alrighty guys, let's watch a little video clip. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out or work or anything. I didn't have much time to set it up beforehand, but I've got it pulled up. I want to watch a video clip about tool selection when it comes to picks. We can we'll watch it. Let's see if we can get the camera angled around correctly. So motion sickness warning, everybody. We're gonna see, hope, and pray that we can get this just right. Hopefully it'll sound okay. All right, so let's see. We've got that. I think we can see the whole screen, can't we? All right, Gumby, we'll see ya. Oh, wow. LPG, I've never had snails either. I would like to try them, but I've never had them. All right, so we're going to watch. Nah, James, that I'd have to fish out some of my call notes from things like noise complaints that we put in the CAD system. I would have to pull that out and read some of those, because I can get a little creative sometimes with some things on minor issues. My actual reports, though, you would know exactly what happened. Yes, it is YouTube Inception. So, without further ado, let's watch our clip on tool selection. Make sure the volume's up.
This looks like a soft spot to dig. Oh, here, I'll help you. Give me one of those implements.
Here, take your pick. Wait a minute, hold it. That's a shovel. Here's the pick over here.
Well, I picked the shovel. The shovel is my pick.
Oh, no, this is a pick. This is a shovel.
That's what I picked, is the shovel.
How can a shovel be the pick?
Look, if I'd have wanted to pick, I'd have picked the pick. But instead, I picked the shovel because the shovel is my pick.
Oh, in other words, you don't want to pick the pick because the pick is a pick and the shovel isn't a pick. If you pick the pick, the shovel isn't a pick.
Now you got it.
Now I got it. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Still don't understand, do you?
No.
Here, look. Here, now you take your pick. There you are. Now the pick is your pick.
Let's try it again. Now, come on, you take your pick. You took the shovel. Here's the pick over here.
All right, please, come on, dig a hole here. We're in enough trouble as it is, Lou. Now, dig your hole there. Now, if we try to escape it.
One of my favorite clips ever. I hope y'all were able to see that. I'm going to post a link to it in the notes here. But yes, that is essentially the way that you pick your pick. Anyway, let's come over here to the bench. Since we're already kind of turned around here, let's see if I can get the power cord routed. But yes, they're my favorite lock pickers. Yes, Abbott and Costello were awesome. You know, you just don't see comedy like that anymore. It's unfortunate, but you don't. Yeah, some of their math and of course keeping track of the baseball players, the most famous one. And in fact, my little brother and I, we used to. We actually, when we were younger, we had the whole who's on first routine completely memorized. So, because we didn't have much to do sometimes. But anyway, all right. So let's start with the basics. Let's pick our pick. One of the logs that we start out picking whenever we first start learning how to pick is, of course, the Master Lock number 3. And before we get into picking, we know that this is your basic, typical padlock, at least here in the U.S., North America. You know, you grab this thing, you've had them before, you put them on stuff. You've always seen them used. You don't think twice about them, and then you start watching some YouTube videos, and you say, "What the heck is going on here?" They're just so easy to pick, but at the same time, it's like, everybody's like, "Well, why the heck do we still use them?" And that's a good question. And I've talked about that before, but as far as actually picking them, let's look at our basic tools here. When you first start a hobby, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on stuff. So you're going to get a basic set, and you're going to get a turning tool that looks like this, and a pick that may look like this, maybe not quite as polished down as this one is, but this is a cheap Chinese pick. I mean, it literally, I think I got this one from Banggood, and all I did was just put the heat shrink over it for a handle and sanded and polished the end of it. It's cheap. So this is what you're going to start with. And you might even start with having a rake like this. And, you see where you just kind of, put it in here and you put this here and you're going to turn it a little bit and jam that in there and go in and out and maybe, hopefully, you'll get it open. Y'all know that I suck at raking, though. Like wafer locks, even sometimes. Yeah. So you do that, and maybe you get frustrated with that. Let's see. Yeah, started with a quick set. Yeah, you can start with a quick set or a Master Lock number 3 or something, something simple. We're going to look at the quick sets too here in just a minute. I've never made my own pick. I want to, but I just haven't done that yet. So then you take your little hook pick and you go in and you're pushing down on this and you feel something kind of bind up on you, and you go in and you lift up until it clicks, and then maybe you get stuck somewhere and it's just not moving. And that can lead to frustration, and we should never get frustrated with things that are supposed to be fun, because if you get frustrated with it, then, it is not fun anymore. So you go in, and maybe you take a little more time, and you feel around something that's binding up, you lift that up, and then you luck out and you get it open. Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way, and eventually you'll learn a little more finesse. But what if there were some things you could do that would make this a little bit easier? Like maybe instead of using this pick that's really, kind of steep, maybe we use a pick that's not quite as steep, a little shorter one. This is the Sparrows Tron, and I love the Tron. And for a while, until my other one broke, I actually had one that stayed on the bench and one that stayed in my pocket kit. And, you can try that, but, you still put your tensioner in and you kind of crank down on it and go and see what you can get to click and move. And you do that and, kind of try just here and there. And it can make things frustrating to do it this way. And again, you shouldn't get frustrated with this. It's, just puzzles. So let's talk about something that we do even before we pick our pick. Let's talk about tensioning. Now, I've done a couple videos just on tensioning techniques in the past. And this, I'm just going to take that off. It's just getting annoying. Need to redo that heat shrink. But yeah, I've talked about tensioning in the past, and I've got a couple videos on it where you just basically the thing with tensioning is you have to look at it sort of like the clutch that's in a standard shift car. And if you've driven a standard shift, you know that the clutch is very dynamic. It's not, all the way in or all the way out. You have to know where that sweet spot is to be able to hold it, to take off on a hill, or when you're pulling something, you have to know kind of where your limit is. So with tensioning a lock, turning it, it's sort of the same thing. And so the way I look at it is, you can see here how with just laying it in, moving it back and forth, there's a little bit of slop in that core. And, just kind of how it's turning a little bit. Well, the way I like to start is you turn it enough to where all that slack is out. So you can see it's not jiggling around. Just hold it to where the slack is out, and then just go just a bit more, just a tiny flex more, and that will give you the right balance between tension and feedback. So then you can take your time and go in with your pick, and if you pick one pin and then realize that you're not getting anything out of the other pins, they're all kind of springy feeling, you can let up and start again, maybe with a different level of tension, maybe a little bit more. And I don't know if you heard that, but you can hear actual clicks off the lock. off of each pin as you set it. And when you get that nice sharp click, like that, that to me is the right amount of tension, because you're getting feedback from the lock, but you're not binding everything up, and you can tell and get positive feedback of when you have pushed that pin to the right spot. So tensioning in your turning tool is just as important as your pick. And once you learn how to master that, you know, and you can use one finger, you can use two, however it's comfortable. You know, I've seen people hold them like this, you know, and you go in and you can use, you know, start to use any pick that you have to go in there and get this lock open. So there are a number of different things to play with. And again, it's like, you know, it's like driving a stick shift. With raking a lock, you want to use very light tension. So basically, you just want to keep it from, you know, just keep the slack out of it. So you don't go any further than just keeping the slack out of it. And you go in with your rake. And I like kind of a up and down wiggle. And do it a couple times. And then you release all your tension. And vary your tension too when, you know, when you're raking. Just kind of bounce your fingers up and down on that turning tool. And again, like I've said, I completely suck at raking locks open. So this will be a miracle for me to get it open. Yeah. That ain't happening with the rake. What's a stick shift? Yeah, I love a stick shift. All my cars I've ever owned, except for my very first car, have all been stick shifts. Now my patrol car obviously isn't, but personal cars, yeah. So tensioning, you know, figuring out the tension on a lock is, you know, a very, very important thing. Bad. Yeah, a lot of people don't drive stick shifts, and it's hard to find anything in a stick shift, but you know, you still can out there. But yeah, you just think of it as being variable. Even on the same lock or the same types of locks, just depending on what kind of picking you're doing, you know, just turn it enough just to pull the slack out of it, and then give it just a hair more, and then go in, and you don't even have to get the lock picked to figure out your tension. You go in, and if you're getting feedback and sharp clicks whenever you set a pin, then you know that you've got your tension about right. And you can go back through, and if you have to reset, you just let off your tensioner. Three on the tree. Wow. Yeah. That's I've never driven one of those. Yeah, LPG. I've not driven a stick shift in a while. My personal car is kind of out right now, but I miss having one. My patrol car, you know, yeah, But you can go. This one, of course, is wanting to be camera shy, but you go in and you can vary that tension again. And there have been other videos out there about tensioning. Some other people have done it like with weights on the end, rubber bands, all kinds of stuff like that. There was a hands-free challenge that was going around a while back. And, so I would encourage you to look at some of those other videos to see how other people try to describe tensioning. But again, I say just enough to pull the slack out of the cord, and then just a touch more. So, and I mean, I use heavy tension compared to some people. So we've talked about the basics of that. The other, let's see. Anthony, you drive stick. Okay. Whew. Bad spacer on the column. Now that sucks. I've had a patrol car before where the spacer was off on the shift indicator, and so you'd think you were in park and you were really in reverse. All right, Ronald. Yeah. I'm gonna. Let's see. Let's start looking at that. How do you know when you have to use a postal hook or a short hook or something like that? Well, let's pull out our other hooks. And this is the closest thing that I have to a postal hook right now. I miss having a postal hook. I know a lot of people have said in the past that, postal hook is something that you can take out of your kit and throw it in a drawer and never have to worry about it again. That is absolutely not true. I love postal hooks, not for smaller keyways like this. Anytime that you think you can get your tensioner in the bottom of the keyway, it's going to be easier on your hand. If you're picking in hand, it's going to be easier to tension off that way. You might have to use a top of the keyway tensioner and go in and hold it like that. But it depends on the shape of the keyway. And this is going to answer your question, Ronald. You can look and see, with the master lock, you have this little ledge that comes out here. So if you go, come on, focus. So if you go in the bottom here, like if you go from the bottom here, you're going to have to reach up and reach around this little ledge right here. And your pick's going to be going kind of sideways, and you might not be able to go all the way up. Where I like using a postal hook is when you have, say, like a quickset keyway, which is where you've got this little ledge way down here. Go ahead and like tension off of here or here, and then you can take your steep hook or your postal hook, and that will let you reach really high cut pins. And we're going to take this apart and look at it or repin it and see if we can make a difference in the picking of it. But looking at your keyway is going to be the biggest thing as far as your pick selection. Normally, just a standard hook like this will work in almost anything. Of course, if you get smaller, smaller keyways, it's not going to fit quite as well. But where I really miss having a postal hook for is the American keyway. The American lock keyway, you can come in straight from the bottom and lift straight up, just like that. You can hit every single pin. Now, of course, you have to use top of the keyway for that. Come in and you're going to turn and then take your steep hook and reach straight up and it will let you reach right behind that tensioner, and then you can just work down the line. Whatever binders you find, just lift them up, get a couple clicks off of them. You know, I did that whole series on picking American lock padlocks a long time ago, like last year, and you know, as far as what to look for. But just look, you know, at basically at the shape of your keyway. And even before you put a turning tool in there, just take your pick and look and run it in the bottom and see if you can lift straight up. If you can lift straight up and run the tip of that pick across all the pins, that's going to give you a little more leverage. Plus, it's going to give you more feedback if you have a really high cut pin in there. I will. Let's see. And again, I wish I still had my postal hook. I wore it out and broke it, really. But this lock, this is the Ace 527, and it has an American style keyway. And this first pin is really, really high cut. I mean, you can see on the key right there is up there. So you've got to lift it way up out of the way and get to some of those others. And picking from the ledge just wasn't doing it for me because I'd slip off. I'd have my tensioner up here, and I wasn't getting that much room. So I found using the postal hook or the deep hook really, you know, gave me an advantage, and I was able to reach way up in there and get it almost every single time. And when I discovered that, I had actually not been using the postal hook just because everybody had been telling, you know, me and saying in their videos, you know, you can get rid of that postal hook. You don't have to have it. It's useless. It gets in the way. And then I found it with this lock, and, you know, I hadn't been able to pick it open once. And I said, well, let me try this, because I had the feeling that, you know, some of these first pins were set really high, and this poor keyway is worn out in this lock. And I was able to reach up and set that pin just right, and give me all kinds of new feedback. May not be able to get this one. Come on. And see, even this hook, as steep as it is not long. And I think you've talked me into buying some more postal hooks, Ronald. Because even with this one, I'll have to get back here on the ledge and reach straight up. But anytime you need, you know, a straight up reach on a pin, that's when I would use your steeper hooks. But don't discount the postal. Really, Anthony? You've never heard that? That was something I used to hear all the time. And the term came from, what was it? It was an older post office lock. It was used on certain kinds of post office boxes or postal, something in the postal service, that basically required your hook to, is not tapered like this. The base of the shaft would be more at a right angle, coming straight out. It wouldn't be tapered down. And then it would be tapered on the top a bit. And then your hook, instead of just making this gradual sweep, it actually makes like a straight up, you know, ramp and comes up really tall. I would go on to, if you go on to Southord's site, because I really like Southward's hooks, because, I mean, that's what I started with. Go onto their site and look and see at their postal hook, and you'll see the profile that I'm talking about. I'm not going to go, because like I said, if I go, I'll be tempted to buy, and the budget department's not letting me buy anything right now. So, anyway, Ronald, you'll be all right. I'll get them one day. But yeah, so the other, the big thing when trying to figure out what pick you need is, figure out what tension you need. Because a master lock, your best tension is going to be bottom of the keyway. If you know that a lock has security pins in it, then, like the American padlock, then you will probably want to go with top of the keyway because it gives you more control. You can do it with bottom of the keyway tension, but you're not going to have the same amount of control when you get the counter rotation from security pins. So if I saw an American lock, 1100 series like this out in the wild, or one of these out in the wild, something, or one of the Master Lock Pro series, I would say, okay, I'm going to use top of the keyway tension. Well, not for the Pro series, but if it was a lock that I knew had or could have security pins in there, I would go ahead and select top of the keyway just to start off with. And then I would try like a standard hook or a steep hook. I wouldn't go with a shallow hook or a short hook. Just not for the first go. But try it with different picks that you have and different tensioners, and see what gives you the most feedback and how far can you get with them. Like right there, I just dropped into a false set. So I know that I've got security pins in there. And the cool thing about American lock padlocks is you don't have spring tension on the plug. So you can kind of like right there, I'm still in a false set like that. Now if I take my tensioner and turn it, I was in a false set. You with a dead core, you're not going to lose that much in your false set if you just completely ease off the tension. Like there, I'm in a false set there. I can take it out, put it back in, and then turn it back up, and I'm not in that false set anymore. Yeah, James, the PXS 14 is my favorite set, actually. And I want to get another whole set, just original set, along with a couple extra hooks from them. But I really like Southward. Yeah, Anthony, my top of the keyway, that's the same for me. Your tensioners slip out whenever, especially when you're trying to pick the first pin. That's why I practice with bottom of the keyway, because in the wild, if you need to pick, this is going to be easier. You've got more purchase. You're going to be able to manipulate around the lock a lot more. In other words, if this were installed in a door, you could turn it this way and come that way. If the door jamb is over here, you can put it this way and turn. or you can, even go the opposite direction with it going that same side and still be able to accomplish what you need. It gives you a little more leverage, and I think it gives you a little more feedback sometimes. But the important thing is making sure that it's thick enough to completely fill that lower part. I mean, you can see I'm not real thick enough here, but this is the thickest one I have, and I can get a decent feel for it. Now, if I were to run up against one of these guys in the wild, I wouldn't even try with bottom of the keyway tension. There's no way I could get in there and get in there with a pick and hit the sidebar pins and the top pins. But you're not going to be picking those in the wild. Yeah, James, you're absolutely right with the American 1100 series. The only real world application I would use these for would be like not even really a tamper seal, or for like a gem locker. Maybe a gem locker. Because if you've got a locker in a locker room, chances are somebody's not going to come in carrying a crowbar. They could, but, I don't know. This would be something I would use to keep coworkers from stealing my food or snacks out of my locker. I would use it for that. But beyond that, yeah, I wouldn't use it outside, because you could take a hammer and blow this thing to bits. And yeah, the lockout tagout is what they were made for. But yeah, they're decent, actually really, really decent at learning how to pick security pins, because you have serrateds and you have spools and serrated key pins. And they're awesome cores, but you just need it in a bigger body, kind of like the 527 I've got sitting back here. That is a clone off the American 700 series, and that is a chunk of lock. Let's see. I'm going to be really embarrassed if I can't get this guy open. See, this is what happens when you don't practice picking these locks for a long time. And it's been a while for me. Like I said, there are days I can't pick my nose if I tried to. But anyway, yeah. Now, there are some other locks that do have security pins that I would use, that I do use bottom of the keyway tension in. All right, James, we'll see you Saturday. Should be here. Planning to be here, hopefully. Glad you stopped by today. This is another good lock to learn how to pick security pins. The Avis ADTI-50. And you can use top of the keyway tension in here, but you're going to need one of the thinner pry bars to come in like that, and it's still going to mess with picking that first pin. A lot of people use top of the keyway to pick this. I use bottom of the keyway a lot of times, just because I have a tensioner that I know will fit in there and not get in my way completely. But this is another one where you could use a steeper hook to go into. And, basically you look at, just take your pick, not the shovel, but take the pick and put it in, like down here at the very bottom of the keyway, and see if you can reach straight up easily to hit that first pin. And in here, no, it's getting pinched up on this boarding on the left. But if you look over here on the right, there's this really tiny ledge. And if you set up on that, you can reach straight up, hit all the pins. So if you've got the possibility of high cuts, pins that have to be lifted very high up in there, and you would look at the key. If you had the key and you wanted to cheat, you could tell which ones were a higher cut, on the key, and which ones were lower cut that you might not even have to mess with picking. And again, sometimes I'll do this. Now, if you do bottom of the keyway tension, you're going to have a little extra kind of lever down here to where you can lever up. So if you've got a shorter hook like the Tron, you can lever off of that tensioner and still hit the pins that you need to. And of course, these are the TI-50s. They have one standard and 5 spools, 6 pin, yeah. It's one standard and 5 spools. Okay, there's that. So it's really all, all based on the shape of the keyway and what kind of tensioning you're going to be using. It takes a while to get the feel for spools to be able to use bottom of the keyway tensioning to pick them. So if you're used to picking spools with top of the keyway, then a shorter pick in a larger keyway like this, might not be as useful. You might not be able to reach up and get the pin set all the way. So you would be undersetting your pins. All right, let's look. What to do next? So yeah, basically, like I've been saying, just look at the keyway of whatever lock it is you're trying to pick. This one on the Pro Series and the other Pro Series locks that I've had, the stainless steel bodies, they have the same core that this kind does. This is the 6835, and I like doing these with bottom of the keyway because it is so small up here. Like, you got this ledge over here to the right that you can reach and work off of, but there's not that much distance between that ledge and the top of the keyway. So you're not going to need a very deep pick for that. And on the same token, if you put a tensioner up here in the top, you're not going to be able to really maneuver your pick in and get everything set. So you do have to kind of learn how to deal with security pins using bottom of the keyway tension on these. And you can get it open. Now that's a lot of practice to be able to get like that, but is perfectly doable. And if you're stuck on a lock that you're just not able to, you're not able to get, then try different tensioning. Try a different pick. If a pick doesn't go in there easily, then try one that's shorter. Try one where the tip is shaped differently. Try one where the shaft isn't as thick. And, just try different ones. That's perfectly fine. There's really absolutely no set formula as far as getting, as far as having this pick goes with this keyway, blah, blah, blah. No, there's none of that. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate that. It's just practice, and it's learning what works for you. Plus, the way I like to approach locks, the way that I've learned over the years, is approach them from a practical standpoint. If this lock is, let's take this key off here. Open this guy up. It's probably the first time in forever. And there's how you use your vise to pick padlocks. You lock it on there. You look and see, your hand, you don't have that much room to grab hold of the lock. You've got maybe a little bit here. So if this were on a door in the wild, or on a hasp somewhere, or on a chain, for one thing, if it's on a chain, you've got the weight of the chain. So you might as well just pick the lock up and hold it like that. Another thing, you've got to angle it to where you can get, you're not going to be able to angle it that great for you. And we can even do it like this, and then reposition your vise. And now the only thing comfortable about picking this lock is how we're sitting in a nice chair and we're not outside in the weather, which today here is spectacular, by the way. It's actually above 60 degrees here in the shop. So you can imagine if you have a lock like this in the wild that you're needing to get, it would be a complete and total pain in the rear end to try to balance your top of the keyway tension here and select a 15 thousandths and go in from the bottom of the keyway, reaching through. No, come on now. We ain't got time for that. You put this in, it's not going to fall out. You can hold the lock to where you can get to it. You can apply tension, reach in, and again, start feeling the pins for a binder. That way you know that you got your tension right. And at least just get a couple good snaps out of a few pins to make sure that your tension is adjusted. And then you go through. And if you need to let up, you can. There you go. There. So that's actually a great way to practice to evaluate a lock as to how it would be in the wild. And that's how I practice when I do practice, is I'll get locks and I'll say, okay, this lock would be, pretty daggone difficult for me to hold top of the keyway tension in and maneuver this pick this way. And, I've got a couple fancy picks that actually Fast Charlie gave me a long time ago, and I don't use them because they're beautiful picks. Like this one is 20 thousandths, and then this one is 15 thousandths. and I don't use them really because I don't want to damage them. But you can see this, Anthony. This is more kind of the profile swoop of a postal hook, but a postal hook would actually come up at an even sharper slope and extend just a little bit higher. Like it would come up, you can see the metal back here, so it would actually come up even with that. You're not going to use these picks in the field, which most lock sporters aren't going to be picking in the field anyway, but I like to keep things, realistic. I always try to be an optimist, but I'm also realistic about situations, so you're not going to carry those picks with you. And you're not going to start off with those picks. You're going to start off with some Southord picks, maybe a Sparrows Tron, maybe some top of the keyway tension, pry bars. But other than that, you're not going to have all this fancy stuff out there. So let's look at something like a Schlage. This is a Schlage cylinder that came with one of the deadbolts that I put on my house. Of course, first thing I did was pull it out and replace it with an Everest cylinder. But it's got a newer style Schlage keyway in there, and it works with the C keyway. You can see it's in there. It works great. Let's get a good camera angle there. Yeah, Anthony, if you look at the PXS 14, and I don't know, let me look here. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I'm over here typing away. See, like pick sets. Individual. Hang on just a second. Hang on. Okay. Let's look here. Yeah, I'm not seeing much either. Let's get the PXS 14. All right. I'm going to post this link here. Okay, Anthony. Yeah, that would be definitely something for you. And we're going to start looking with this Schlage and then look at some of these others. See, the PXS 32. I've not looked at, I'm sure I've seen that. Yeah, the PXS 32, Ronald, I don't know. For me, it's got a bunch of rakes in it, and it does have a bunch of hooks, and they're in different thicknesses. But I think I would rather get something, smaller like the 14 because with the 14, really all you need is, I wish they would include like 2 more different hooks and take out the the ball rake, and the double-ended pick that nobody uses, which is this thing right here. It sits in the holder over there. Why? I don't know, because I've never used it. But it, I wish they would take that out, take out the ball rake, and take out the broken key extractor, because you're not going to be able to bring any, you're not going to be able to extract any broken keys with that. And in fact, I've got real key extractors set up for my next order when I do order some stuff. Good morning, Dennis. But I wish they would take those out and then include some more hooks, like different profiles, because these are Southord, and you can, they already make these both in the Max Steel and the Standard. But anyway, let's start looking at some of these other things. For a Schlage, this is the newer Schlage, like I was saying. And let me get some light shown in there. And you can see it looks a lot different than, see, one of these where the profile is cut out. You can see the profile. Come on, focus now. The warding's actually out here towards the face. This one has it more towards the inside, and I imagine it's cheaper. It's the reason why they did this, because this is all cast. We're going to look at the difference between picking these, but if this is on the newer model locks, then you're going to have to be, you're going to have to know a little bit about it. But with Schlage, I almost always use top of the keyway. Whether it's in a padlock, in a lever handle, a deadbolt, whatever, because it's really kind of difficult to get your bottom of the keyway tensioner in there and get good feedback. And I mean, like this one, the classic Schlage, yeah, you can get it in there and use it, but if you need to turn this way, if you need to go counterclockwise, it'll go. I mean, I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see. We're going to do it actually both ways with this, and just going to use the standard hook and just kind of, what I like to do with a lot of these is I'll just kind of bully it through. Now, obviously, if you're in the wild, you're not going to be able to clamp down over the top of it like this and hold it. So you're probably going to be coming up and under like that to hold your tensioner. And so you'll have to learn how to get a good feel for tensioning that way. And this core's a real piece of work. It is a piece of junk, really. I mean, I'm getting clicks. I'm not getting any turns out of the plug. Not getting any type of counter rotation that I'm feeling like this. Everything's sort of stuck. Okay. All right. Nothing on that. Now see, if you come in from here, it's tapered. The warding is tapered coming in. So it actually likes to pinch, kind of pinch your picks. So using a thicker pick like this may not be the best. So let's switch to this. This is still a 22 thousandths south, or 23 thousandths southward max. And see, I can barely get past that pinch of the warding. So it's actually easier to come over here to the side and lift up. Now, again, this is one where if you're in the wild, you're going to be holding the tensioner like this or like this. And, your pick might be too thick, too wide. So you'll go down to a shorter one because you may be oversetting some of those pins as you go in. I think the last time I opened one of these, I was having difficulty with it. See, with this pick, I don't feel like I'm getting up there high enough to really get anything going. I'm getting a few clicks now. So, okay, now I've got a false set, so I'm just going to look for something that gives me feedback. I never got that far using bottom of the keyway. Okay, it's definitely getting counter rotation. I think I said it. Okay, I'm going to show y'all a super secret, top secret lockpickers trick. If you think you've set a security pin and you lost your false set and you're trying to get it back, you can put in another tensioner. Now I'm going this way with this one and this way with this one. And just got to click. And I lost everything. The point of that is to be able to rotate back in case if you overset a spool to get it. But yeah, that didn't work for me with this one. Anyway, these are little devils. I don't like them. They're cheap as crap though, because they're, just cast pot metal. So you could definitely, a rotary pick would be much more economical on these. As much as I hate to say that, let's see. It's one of my favorite tools, how to open a lock with that. What were you talking about, Miko? Which one was one of your favorite tools? And yeah, Anthony, actually I think I have it. For the music wire, I didn't have actual music wire, but it was close enough. And I did that to where I've got a bottom of the keyway and top of the keyway, both in one tool. And it works okay, except it's not wide enough for me for either one. I wish it was wider. I've got some, let's see, I may take some of this thickest piece right here, I don't know. That may be about the same thickness. Yeah, that's about the same thickness there. I'll tell you another great source of metal, especially if you've got a grinder. Great source of metal for making tools out of are those daggone political signs after the political season is over with. You know, whether it was your candidate or the opposition's candidate sign that you picked up, use the wire out of it, and you can bend it and grind it down and shape it into what you need, and it does pretty good. I've done that before with a couple other things. Good morning, Ken _ Glad you could join us. We're just going over some basics with picking. Just kind of a back to basics deal today. Looking at pick selection, tensioning selection. This is an LSDA Schlage C cylinder. And you can see if we use this one, this Southord Max standard hook. Yeah, Anthony, the postal hook, a super hook, yeah, is actually very, very, very useful. And I don't know why I've not replaced mine since I broke the first one. But yeah, it's very useful. Okay, now with the Schlage keyway, just a regular Schlage C keyway, if we take our pick and put it down here in the bottom, you can reach up. I mean, you can see right there, I am able to reach up past the warding to hit that first pin, but it gets kind of pinched in there. Let's give it a try just to see how far I make it, but I've never had any luck doing it this way. There's 1, 3, 4, and a false set, 5, and an open. Yeah. All right, I lucked out on that one. Let's see. The one that looks like a thin piece of metal. Are you talking about this one, Miko? The double-ended rake and diamond pick that comes in all the kits that are, to me it's like useless. I mean, I guess not useless, but I don't know. Maybe I should store this somewhere in a car or something just in case. I don't know. I'll think about it. Yeah, Anthony, LPG, just said it. Bobby Keys has made and designed these plug holder, or the core holders. They are 3D printed. I've had this one for quite a while. You can see how grimy it is. But it's very, it's really great to slide in, and then it holds everything in place as you clamp it down in the vise. And actually right here, I've got one for profile cylinders, which works exactly the same way, and it holds most every profile cylinder I've ever had. But yeah, Bobby Keys can definitely hook you up with those, because he makes those and does a great job at it. But let's look, while we've still got the Schlage out here. Y'all have seen in my past videos when I've been doing stuff with the locks on either the shop or the house or something. In the lever handles, that's how they're mounted. So you've got to pick sideways. So if you're looking to do practical picking, you look to do it sideways. You might have a door jamb here. This will always be facing away from the door jamb. But you can go in. You might have to do, I'm doing like, let me zoom out here. Actually, there we go. You can see, and you can imagine having to do this. Just know if this is in a lever set, you can come up like this. You can go either direction to unlock one of these in a lever set. This camera ain't working. There we go. Maybe. All right. And what I like to do is go in from this ledge right here on the side. And you can use a short hook. But again, as far as your pick selection, because that's sort of how we started this whole thing off, which pick is your pick? If you can get one or two that maybe feel like they're binding, but you can't really get anything out of them, and you try adjusting your tension, then, try a different pick. This is different than what I used a second ago. So you come in with a standard hook instead of a short hook, and, you can come in from the bottom of the keyway if you feel you can comfortably reach all the way up, and then go through and get your clicks. And I'm standing up doing this right now too, by the way. So practice turning your locks in your vise. There you go. And then that would give you just enough snap to where it would open up and unlock the lever set. So, there are all kinds of different things to consider when you're choosing, what tools you're going to use. And it just takes time and practice and learning what works best for you and what works best for the lock. Let's see. It's when you start bumping locks. I've never, ever, ever, ever been able to bump a lock. I mean, I've got bump keys. I've got the little rubber castration rings that go on there, and I've just never been able to bump a lock. But maybe one day I'll learn how. But alrighty, Ken _. Glad you could stop by. We're going to look at a couple other locks, and then we're going to start to wrap it up too. This is a Defiant cylinder, which of course is Kwikset clone. I'm trying to get some more light over here. It seems okay. I think the light on my phone goes out after a while. I'm going to put this in here. Something, if you're having to do this in the wild, which if you're doing it just for lock sport, you shouldn't do in the wild. The thing to remember about deadbolts is if you don't have a plug spinner, the way that you pick it to unlock is always in the direction opposite of the door frame. So if this was the door frame right here, then you would want to come in and pick counterclockwise. That way it retracts the bolt from the door. Quickset and quickset clone handle and knob sets, actually they unlock. Hang on a second, I'm trying to remember. I believe they unlock on clockwise and lock on counterclockwise. I believe. I will probably be proven wrong. Yeah, they lock going counterclockwise and unlock going clockwise. Yes, because I have one actual gatehouse lock. Is the lock between the kitchen and the laundry room. So yes, I had to stop and think for a second. Anthony, with the that's cool. For the A series, I like A series. What I would do, like, do you have the lock out of the door? Or is it still in the door and you're just trying to pick it, like, because you don't have the key and you need to rekey it? Is that it? We can actually take a look at an A series, picking an A series. And in fact, we'll look at that in a second, I think. But yeah, with a quickset, if this is mounted flush in the door, like I was saying, you want to get either a standard hook, or you can even get a steep hook if you know that or if you suspect that there are high cut pins. And the way that you start to suspect that they're high cut pins is if you go through and let's do it with the short hook. Go through, you got to click on one or two-ish, maybe 3, nothing on 4, tapped 5 and it opened. But if you go through and you set a couple of them, but it maybe feels like you're not able to get all the way up, and you'll know what that feels like when you do it, then maybe move on and try a steeper, longer hook. So just experiment. Look at your keyway first. Take your pick or your shovel and reach in and see how it interacts with the keyway. So like trying to get the focus. So like you can move in and say, okay, this is, with the standard hook, I have to come down that far to get the pin all the way up, nearly to the top of the keyway. With a short hook, I come in and I have to angle way back down here to get it up. Or with a steep hook, I can come in and get it up fairly easily without all that levering and just go through like that. This one's not a good example of picking, it could be, but we don't have any extremes in there. Let's look at, let's look at a couple others. I pulled a couple others out. This Sargent. Okay, this Sargent, you can see it has some low bitting here in the front and some high cuts in the back. So let's get this guy clamped in here. And with a mortise cylinder, as far as out in the wild, with a mortise cylinder, I would probably try, again, depending on what type of cylinder is in there, I would probably just go ahead and start trying with top of the keyway tension, just to see how far I can get. And again, you can see with the, you can see I picked on this guy a lot. But with Sargent, the keyway is really, really wide open. And it's a very tall keyway. So, this is my steepest hook and longest reach. It still won't go all the way up. If I had a postal hook, I would definitely be able to go in and go tink, 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 and not have to move and bend quite as much as I do with this one. So we'll take top of the keyway, and we'll take a, let's try this one, this standard hook. And I am, just so you guys can see, I'm going to be holding the tensioner way up here, because we'll imagine that there's a door jamb right here on this side, so we're going to go counterclockwise. And I'll take a cheap standard Chinese hook and go in, and I'm not getting anything till I'm back here at like pin number 4 or 5. Come forward, and see that first one, it's kind of hard to get in behind the tensioner, and you just maintain steady tension and go through and just keep hitting stuff till, don't try to really take it and jam it up in there. Take it and just press it until you get the click. Sort of like if you've ever shot a gun, it's sort of the same thing as people saying don't squeeze the trigger, don't jerk the trigger, squeeze it. And in fact, a lot of new instruction says press it with your fingertip. That's really what you want to do with lock pins when you're picking them, is just press until you get that click or that next step of feedback. Let's get this guy out of here. Look at another example. And then I will pull out an A series, and we'll see if we can help Anthony pick through an A series. So here is a Corbin Russwin. I have, let's see, it's a D170. I don't even remember where I got it from. This is a Russwin cylinder. It doesn't have Corbin Russwin on there, so I guess this would be System 70, which is their older pinning system. So I'm not really that familiar with stuff with the Corbin pinning systems. Dennis, the postal hook is something we were talking about quite a bit earlier in the chat, in the video and everything. If you go up, look up just before you commented, I posted, before you said good morning, just above there is a link that I put to Southord, and it shows the PXS 14 pick kit. And if you look in the picture of that pick kit, the postal hook is the one that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over to the right from the case that's in that picture. It's the one with the really steep angled hook on it. That is a postal hook. And again, I wish Night Owl was here. He could He's a repository of lock history. He could tell me exactly which lock it was designed after or designed to defeat. But it was basically a post office used lock that had pins that were set really high, and you had to reach under and jam them skyward. That's where the name postal hook came from. And lots of people don't use it, like I was talking about earlier, but I've found that it's a very, very useful tool. And I don't have any of them anymore, but they're on my shopping list. Let's see. So let's look at this Russ one, and you can see that we have a pretty kind of gnarly looking, keyway here. So it looks like up here at the top, if we stick the tensioner in there, we could get in there, but are we going to be able to get to anything from the bottom? Well, if we reach up here, no, we're not going to be able to. So we take our hook and we put it down here in the bottom of the keyway and see that tip just hits that piece of warding right there. So we're not going to be getting past that. And I know that Lockpicking Lawyer has done a video, and he actually recently reminded everybody about that old video about picking through very paracentric keyways. This is a very paracentric keyway, and paracentric basically means that it is not straight up and down, that you have to kind of curve through everything. And in some holes for the key, for the pins to fall through to the key, are drilled in there. But this one, you take your pick and just run it like with the tip right under this bit of warding here. Just run it through, and you're not going to feel any cutouts. Nada. So it's going to be useless to try to pick from the bottom here. So we can go ahead and say that determines we're going to use bottom of the keyway tensioning. And, as long as we don't get jammed up with it, this isn't as wide as I would like, but we can put it down here and I think we'll be okay. So that leaves us with this little bit right here. And obviously, if I were to try to shove a big pick like this in there, it's going to be hard to get under any low cut pins without really, without really just getting in my own way, basically. There we go. There's some light that's shed on the situation. Okay. So we're going to go with bottom of the keyway tensioning, and I'm going to go with the Sparrows Tron and come up here. Hang on, y'all. All right. Maybe now y'all be able to see. All right. Coming in this way. Okay. And that was a spool. I got counter rotation on it. That was another spool. That was another spool. That was another one. Let's check back up here at the front. Yep. Okay. So we've got a good falset going on here. Nothing there. And the fifth one, right here on number 6. And there we go. We're open. So, it's all about looking at your keyway, determining where you can get good tension, determining how your pick can fit through there if it can, and then figuring out where your pick does fit in relation to the pins. And also what you're doing and where you're doing it. Those come into play bigger than what a lot of lot sporters, I think, consider. What you're doing and where you're doing it. All right, so let's grab an A series. Excuse me. Let's grab an A series lock. And we'll go to picking it. Let's see. Okay. This is this one. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. Let's do this one. Okay. Hey, Rune. Good morning. I know you're probably, it's mid-afternoon for you. Good morning, Torch. All right. So here's the A series, and I'm just going to kind of try to get it in here without mashing everything up quite so bad. That ain't gonna work. Alright, I guess we'll have to mash everything up kind of quite so bad. Nah, I just want to take this plate off of here. Move to where y'all can see what I'm doing. Pop that off right there. And then we'll get this guy mounted up to where we can look at picking a little bit on the A series. Rune, Torch, hope y'all are doing well. Good to see y'all again. All right. All right, so now we can get this guy mounted up. I wish I had some leather scraps to go around there. Alright, but I think that'll do us. So what I'm going to do is in here, turn, because you have to push. If you just simply push, it won't catch. You have to push and turn. And then that locks the knob. And here is our key bitting. So you can see the cylinder turns, the knob does not. So we are locked up. Let's see. All right, LPG, have a great week as well. You be safe as well. Hopefully we'll see you Saturday, perhaps. We'll be here Saturday. Let's look over here. Got some lighting. Alrighty. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the Schlage keyways and how I personally like to go at them, to open them up. You can see we're still all locked up here. Which is top of the keyway and then coming in from the side here, going to the pins. I wish this daggone camera would focus. All right, there we go. Maybe. Okay. All right, we'll try. Maybe if that's all. There we go. Okay. So we'll use top of the keyway tension. And on these, it doesn't matter which way you pick. It will unlock just the same. So we're going to go that way. And then I'm going to use the Sparrow's Tron. And then go in from this little ledge right here on the side. And kind of reach that away for the pins. Okay, nothing on 1, 2, 3, 4. Gave me a little bit of something. And 5. Okay, a little something out of 5. Back here to 1. Okay, I think I got 1. But everything else is gone rather quiet. Let's do a quick reset. Okay, that's 4. 5. And when you pick through a lock and it's mushy, especially if it's mounted, like this is in an actual knob or something or lever, if you pick through it and you get a couple good definitive sets, like set some pins, and then everything else kind of goes mushy, try varying your tension just a little bit. I like to go heavier. That way I avoid oversets. And then just kind of go carefully through. And if you don't get anything, pull that pick out. Your tension's doing okay because you're getting clicks, but go through with a hook that maybe has a little more reach on it. Okay, that was 4. 4 is the first one to bind. 5 binds after. Okay, if we look, there's absolutely no way to go straight up from the bottom here. So, let's try going counterclockwise. I'm switching back to the Tron just to see if I can get a feel for what else binds and how high it is for them to go. And some locks just pick easier going in the opposite direction than you started with. Okay, so that was 2, 4. Not off too much tension there. I think that's 3. And there we go. So it's just a matter of flexing your tension and, trying different picks. If one doesn't work, grab another one and put it in there and see, just see what you can get. It's all about trying things out and figuring out what works well and, just kind of feeling your way through it. There's nothing exact to any of this. Just takes some practice and a little bit of knowledge. But basically just kind of an eye for things. So, I hope that helped y'all out. I know some of y'all have been picking for a very long time, and this is kind of basic. But sometimes it's good to go over the basics and, just kind of look at, hey, this is what's going on with this. This is what's going on with that. Just sort of a way to keep your brain evaluating the situation. Something that I've learned in law enforcement and public safety over the years is you constantly reevaluate the situation. Between every few seconds to every few minutes, you look up, you look around, you see what's different, you see what's going on, and it's the same thing with any sort of analytical puzzle. You have the basics, you have the shape, so you know what will reach up from the bottom, you know what won't. And if you've never encountered the shape of the keyway before, you try. Just try. Say, hey, can I stick my pick in the very bottom of this keyway and lift it straight up and lift a pin all the way up? And if the answer is no, then either you need a different pick, or if you can't hit the pin itself, then you need to position to a different spot. And then just figure out, what works best as far as tensioning, what works best as far as, reach on the pick, because you don't want to overset stuff, but you don't want to underset pins either and get frustrated. So, and when in doubt, you will have one of those locks where, you just keep going at it, and then finally you change something up and it clicks open just like that, and you're like, should have had a V8. So anyway, that's going to wind us up. It's getting near noon here. We've been going for almost 2 hours, making up some lost time, which I enjoy doing. I enjoy it. So I got to pack up my bag and get all my gear put together, because later this week I'm rekeying a multi-lock for one of my best friends. Bill Bacardi sent me some pins for it. Since it's going to be in use, I'm not going to show any of it. But I've got to get my stuff together to do that with, because everything's been sitting here on the bench since last week, honestly. This past weekend was a wash with everything going on. I had not planned on doing anything, and I exceeded my expectations. So anyway, today is going to be, today is going to be one of those days where I'm going to get some stuff done. I'm going to watch some TV, and it's going to be a nice sunny day, because it's actually, wow, it's 65 degrees out here in the shop, which must mean it's like 75 outside. But it's supposed to get cold again tonight, like drop down to 33 or 34 degrees tonight. Ridiculous. But anyway, again, I hope that this helped some of y'all out. I hope that I answered any questions that were going on. And I enjoy doing this, because teaching helps keep your brain functioning. And even though something might be basic, whenever you you go to explain it, you have to think through it again and re-examine it, and that helps you come up with new ideas and new ways to look at things. Let's see. Yeah, Anthony, I've been doing some. I've not been doing as much as I've wanted to lately. But I think we're going to Night Owl actually I sent him a copy of my study guide, which is I'm not gonna send it to anybody else because I don't want to get into trouble with the state before I even get started, because they do generate the state licensing board has to generate their own fees, and so they do that with the testing fees, the licensing fees, and the fees for printing study guides. And I understand that there's not a line item budget for locksmith licensing board. So, and they do have strict criteria in which they can generate those fees. So they can't turn around and say, well, the new study guide is going to cost $125 a copy. No, they can't do that. But anyway, I'm studying. Let's just say that I'm studying and trying to make it through other stuff in life. As soon as I get my tax money back, and I think we're probably going to get this latest round of stimulus checks, which that's going to stimulate my personal economy by paying some bills. You're old when you get extra money and you say, ooh, I can get ahead on a bill, or I can bring that bill up to speed. That's when you're getting old. Or at least getting very responsible compared to your 20s. But anyhow, I am going to go ahead and wind up here, I guess. And anyway, we will be back here on Saturday. So let me know, please, between now and Saturday, if you have any suggestions, requests, comments, ideas, anything like that between now and Saturday morning, let me know. Send it to me. Go back and comment on this video after it's resolved and uploaded and everything. Or send me an email or a text message or a Twitter message or something like that. Let me know kind of what, some ideas you would want me to see do Saturday. I'll do what I can, because I love teaching anything. Anyway, so I will see you all Saturday morning. I'm going to go figure out lunch and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day today. And I hope y'all, enjoy the rest of the beautiful day, even if you have to work. I'm sorry that you do. Enjoy the rest of the week, and hopefully you're having nice weather and a nice time. And anyway, so with that, I will say, get ready for it. I will say, hopefully I will have a classic sign off. And luckily we like teaching as well. Yeah, Rune, I love it when y'all teach me and walk me through stuff, because I know it helps you. It helps everybody. Everybody learns whenever there's teaching. So yeah, and I appreciate every second of it. You guys teaching me stuff that I have no clue how to do, or I have a clue but have never actually done it before. And I love learning like that. hands-on in-person learning would be great, but don't think many of us are traveling right now just to do that. So, anyway, alrighty. Yes, G Key Man, I did get that. Yes, thank you. I will reply to that. That was, I saw your email, and I was distracted. I think you sent that on Sunday, perhaps. Like I said earlier, Sunday was just kind of a kind of day for me. So I didn't reply then, but I will reply to you today. I promise. But anyway, without further ado, again, thank you guys. Thank everybody for showing up. Really, really appreciate it. And maybe we can do a classic sign off today. Maybe we'll just do a typical sign off. I don't know. But anyway, y'all stay safe, stay healthy, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you next time.